He cried when he saw his mother homeless, and his rich wife said it wasn't their problem. Michael Thompson felt he had it all in life. At 38, he ran a thriving business consulting firm, lived in a luxurious apartment on the Upper East Side in New York City, and was married to Jennifer, a woman from a traditional and prosperous family. In everyone's eyes, he was the perfect example of success. But on that Thursday afternoon, as he walked down the bustling Fifth Avenue with Jennifer after lunch at the most expensive restaurant in the area, his entire life crumbled in seconds. Among the many beggars scattered along the downtown sidewalks, his eyes stopped on a figure that made his heart race. There, sitting on a small torn blanket, wearing clothes that might have once been brown but now looked almost black with dirt, was his mother. "My God," Michael murmured, his legs trembling. Jennifer noticed he had stopped and turned to see what had caught his attention. "What is it, honey?" "Come on, we're late for the meeting with the architect," she said, tugging his arm, but Michael couldn't move. Mrs. Rose, his mother, was unrecognizable. Her grey hair was dirty and unkempt. The hands that once cooked the best meals of his childhood now held a small plastic cup with a few coins. She stared at the ground with an expression of deep exhaustion that shattered his heart. "Michael, what are you looking at?" Jennifer insisted, impatience creeping into her voice. He swallowed hard, still trying to process what he was seeing. It had been 5 years since he last spoke to his mother. 5 years since that terrible argument when she tried to convince him not to marry Jennifer, saying she wasn't the right person for him. Back then, Michael chose his love for his fiancée and cut ties with his mother, even knowing it would break her heart. Mrs. Rose looked up at that moment, as if sensing someone watching her. When her eyes met Michael's, she froze completely. For an instant, mother and son stared at each other through the crowd passing by. Tears began streaming down both their faces. "Mom," Michael whispered, taking a step forward. "Son," she said, barely able to speak. She tried to stand quickly, but her legs gave out and she nearly fell. That's when Jennifer realized what was happening. Her eyes widened in horror, and she immediately grabbed her husband's arm tightly. "Michael, no, absolutely not. We're leaving now," she hissed, trying to pull him away. "Jennifer, it's my mother," Michael said, his voice shaking. "So what? That's not our problem. Look where we are, Michael. If someone sees us here talking to that, our reputation will be ruined," Jennifer replied, unable to hide the disdain in her voice. Mrs. Rose managed to stand and took a few shaky steps toward them. Her eyes were fixed on her son, as if he were the only thing that mattered in the world at that moment. "Son, you look so handsome, so elegant," she said, her voice choked with emotion. Michael felt as if the world were collapsing around him. The woman before him was a shadow of the strong, determined mother who had raised him alone after his father's death. Where was the woman who worked 2 jobs to pay for his education? Where was the mother who worked miracles in the kitchen with few ingredients? Where was the woman who always kept the cleanest, most organized house in the neighborhood? Why are you... He couldn't finish the question. "Michael, we're leaving." "Now," Jennifer said, this time with authority. She gave Mrs. Rose a cold nod and firmly pulled her husband by the arm. "But Jennifer, no buts. You have important commitments today. We can't be late because of this." Mrs. Rose reached out toward her son, as if wanting to touch him one last time before he left again. "Son, I just wanted to see you once," she said, tears streaming down her face. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now back to the story. Michael looked at his mother, then at his wife, feeling torn in two. Jennifer kept tugging at his arm, and the social pressure of the place, the people passing by staring at the scene, all weighed on him like a mountain. I have to go, Mom," he said, his voice breaking. The expression on Mrs. Rose's face felt like a knife to his chest. It was a mix of understanding, sadness, and a kind of resignation that showed she had expected this rejection. "It's okay, son. I understand. You have your life, your family now," she said, forcing a sad smile. Michael let Jennifer lead him away, but he couldn't help looking back twice before they turned the corner. His mother had sat back down on the blanket, her face buried in her hands. The entire way to the architect's office, Michael stayed silent. Jennifer tried to chat about their plans for the apartment renovation, but he didn't hear a word. His mind was completely fixated on the image of his mother sitting on that sidewalk. "Are you okay, honey?" Jennifer asked when they arrived at the architect's building. "How did she end up like that, Jennifer? My mother was always a hard-working woman, always managed on her own," Michael said, still in shock. "Michael, listen to me carefully. Some people make bad choices in life and end up where they deserve to be. Your mother must have gotten into trouble, spent money she didn't have, gotten involved with the wrong crowd. It's not our fault or our responsibility," Jennifer replied, fixing her hair in the reflection of the glass door. "But she's my mother, Jennifer, the woman who raised me, and the same woman who tried to destroy our marriage, Michael. Remember? She said I wasn't good enough, that I only wanted your money, that our relationship wouldn't work. You even said she was being unfair to me." Michael let out a deep sigh. It was true his mother had opposed the marriage from the start. She always said Jennifer came from a different world and that it could cause problems. At the time, he thought it was jealousy or resistance to change. The meeting with the architect was pure torture. Jennifer excitedly talked about Italian marble, imported chandeliers, and hardwood floors, while Michael could only think about the torn blanket where his mother had been sitting. Every time the architect mentioned the hundreds of thousands in the renovation budget, he thought about how that money could change Mrs. Rose's life. "Are you liking the proposals?" the architect asked, noticing Michael's distraction. Yes, everything's great," Michael lied. When they got home that evening, Michael went straight to his private office and closed the door. He tried to work, answer emails, review contracts, but nothing worked. The image of his mother wouldn't leave his mind. Jennifer walked into the office without knocking, carrying 2 wine glasses. "I brought your favorite wine so we can relax a little," she said, handing him a glass. "Jennifer, we need to talk about what happened today. Michael, please, let's not let this ruin our day. It was just an unfortunate encounter, one of those things that happens when you're walking around downtown. She's my mother, Jennifer. I can't just pretend I didn't see her." Jennifer sighed and sat in the chair across from his desk. She took a sip of wine before speaking. "Fine, let's talk then. What exactly do you want to do? Bring her here to live with us? Turn our home into a shelter for the homeless? Have you even thought about what that would mean for our social life? For our business?" "Jennifer, she's not just any homeless woman. She's my mother, who hasn't spoken to you in 5 years, Michael. 5 years. If she really wanted to stay in touch, she would have found a way. Maybe she tried and I didn't know." "What do you mean?" "I don't know. Maybe she tried calling me, sending letters." "Michael, you're making excuses to feel guilty. If your mother wanted to talk to you, she would have. You're not hard to find. Your business has a fixed address, a phone number, a website." Michael fell silent, but Jennifer's words didn't convince him. Something didn't add up. Mrs. Rose was a proud woman, but she was also loving. Even after their fight, she wouldn't have given up on her son so easily. "I'm going to look for her tomorrow," Michael said suddenly. "What? Michael, you can't be serious." "I'm completely serious. I can't live knowing my mother is sleeping on the streets while I'm in this luxury apartment. What if she's like this by choice? What if she's addicted to drugs? What if she has mental problems? Michael, you know nothing about her life these past 5 years. Then I need to find out." Jennifer stood abruptly, knocking over some of her wine onto the polished wooden table. "If you do this, Michael, if you bring that shame into our lives, I swear I'll leave." "Jennifer, no, Michael, I mean it. I've worked too hard to build our social standing. My whole family respects you because of the successful man you've become. If you throw that all away for a woman who walked out on you 5 years ago, there'll be nothing left between us." "She didn't walk out on me. I was the one who cut contact. Because she forced you to choose between her and me, and you made the right choice back then. Don't change your mind now because of a moment of weakness." Jennifer stormed out of the office, slamming the door behind her, leaving Michael alone with his thoughts and a glass of wine he had no desire to drink. He spent the rest of the night staring out the apartment window, wondering where his mother was sleeping on that cold night. The next morning, Michael woke with a determination he hadn't felt in years. Jennifer was still asleep as he showered, dressed, and left the house quietly. He didn't have a specific plan, he just knew he had to find his mother and learn what had happened to her. He returned to Fifth Avenue, to the exact spot where he'd seen her the day before, but she wasn't there. He asked other homeless people in the area, but no one knew her or had any information. For 3 hours, he combed the streets downtown, searching for any sign of Mrs. Rose. It was in a small square near Chelsea Market that he finally found her. She was sitting on a bench sharing a piece of bread with an even older woman who looked worse off than she did. When Mrs. Rose saw Michael approaching, her eyes filled with tears again. "Son, you came looking for me," she said, slowly standing. "Mom, we need to talk. I need to understand what happened to you." The other woman with Mrs. Rose discreetly stepped away, seeming to understand that mother and son needed privacy. Michael sat on the bench beside his mother, noticing how much thinner she looked than the day before. "Mom, are you sick? Are you eating properly?" "I'm fine, son. Don't worry about me. How's your life, your wife? Do you have children?" "Mom, answer my question. What happened? How did you end up like this?" Mrs. Rose took a deep breath and looked at her hands before speaking. "After you got married and cut ties with me, I was very sad, son. But I understood your choice. You were in love, and I shouldn't have spoken against your wife like that. But that doesn't explain how you lost everything. About 6 months after your wedding, a man showed up at my house. He said he was a real estate agent and had a great deal for me. He told me I could sell the house for an excellent price and invest the money in an opportunity that would double its value in 2 years. Michael felt his stomach tighten. He knew this kind of scam all too well. "Mom, you didn't sign anything without talking to someone first, did you?" "Son, I was alone, without you to advise me, without your father. The man seemed so honest, so polite. He showed me documents, contracts, said many important people in the city were investing with him. My God, Mom, I thought if I could double the money from the house, I could leave you a better inheritance. Maybe then you'd forgive me, and we could talk again." Tears now streamed down Michael's face. His mother had lost everything trying to win him back, and he hadn't even known it was happening. "When did you realize it was a scam?" 2 months after I signed the papers. The man disappeared, the phone numbers he gave me didn't exist, and the house was no longer mine. I tried to get help, but the lawyers said I'd signed everything willingly. "Why didn't you come to me? Why didn't you tell me what was happening?" Mrs. Rose looked at her son with an expression mixed with love and sorrow. "Son, you'd made it very clear you didn't want anything to do with me. How could I show up in your life only when I had problems? You'd think I only wanted your money." "Mom, that's crazy. I'd never think that of you." "Oh, son, I did try to reach you. I sent letters, tried calling." "Letters? What letters? I never got any letters from you." Mrs. Rose seemed confused for a moment. "I sent several letters to your apartment. I got the address from Mrs. Walker's neighbor, who knew your wife's friend's mother. I sent at least 10 letters over 2 years. Michael felt like he'd been punched in the gut. He'd never received a single letter from his mother. Where had those letters gone? "Mom, I swear to you, I never got those letters. If I'd known about your situation..." "It's okay, son, maybe they got lost in the mail. The post office isn't very reliable." But Michael knew something was wrong. Letters don't just disappear like that, not so many times in a row. Someone had been intercepting his mother's mail, and he had a strong suspicion who it might be. "Mom, where are you sleeping? Where are you staying?" "I have a few places, son. There's a shelter that takes us in some nights, the church doorway where the priest lets us stay until 6 in the morning. This can't go on. You're coming with me now and we'll fix this." "No, son. I can't accept your help. Your wife doesn't like me, and I don't want to cause trouble in your marriage. Jennifer will have to understand. You're my mother. Michael, please, just seeing you today, knowing you're okay, has made me happy. You don't have to do anything for me." "Yes, I do, Mom, and I will." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now, continuing, Michael helped his mother up from the bench and insisted on taking her to lunch at a nearby restaurant. Mrs. Rose was embarrassed by her appearance, but he managed to convince her. During the meal, She ate as if she hadn't seen food in days, which was probably true. "Mum, when was the last time you had a proper meal like this? Oh, son, you get used to eating less. Your stomach shrinks over time. That's not normal, Mum. You need medical care. You need to eat properly. Son, don't worry about me. I know how to manage. I always have." After lunch, Michael took his mother to buy new clothes. She resisted at first, saying she didn't want charity, but he insisted it was a gift, not charity. When she stepped out of the fitting room in simple but clean new clothes, Michael nearly cried seeing how much she resembled the mother he remembered. "Now you really look like my mom," he said, hugging her. "Son, I've always been your mother. Clothes don't change that." When it was time to say goodbye, Michael couldn't bear the thought of letting his mother return to the streets. "Mom, I'm renting a small apartment for you. I won't take no for an answer. It's the least I can do." "Michael, I can't accept that. You have your own responsibilities, your wife." "My first responsibility is to you, Mom, to the woman who raised me and gave me everything in life." "And what if your wife doesn't agree? She'll have to." But when Michael got home that night, he found the situation was far more complicated than he'd imagined. Jennifer was in her office, sorting through papers when he walked in. "Hi, honey. How was your day?" she asked without looking up. "Jennifer, I need to tell you something." Go ahead." "I found my mum today. I talked to her, had lunch with her." Jennifer stopped shuffling the papers and looked at him with a cold expression. "Oh? And?" "And I learned some things that really shook me." "What kind of things?" "My mum said she sent me several letters to this address." "I never got those letters, Jennifer." Jennifer went back to her papers as if the conversation didn't matter. "That's odd. Must have been a problem with the mail." "Jennifer, look at me." She reluctantly raised her eyes. "Did you receive letters from my mother?" A long, tense silence followed. Jennifer looked back at the papers, but Michael could see her hands trembling slightly. "Jennifer, answer my question." "Michael, it doesn't matter now. What's done is done." "How can it not matter? Jennifer, did you intercept letters from my mother?" "I protected our marriage, Michael. I protected our family. Where are the letters?" "What letters?" "Jennifer, stop playing games with me. Where are the letters my mother sent me?" Jennifer stood up and walked to a filing cabinet in the corner of the office. She opened a drawer and pulled out a small stack of envelopes tied with a rubber band. "Here are your precious letters," she said, tossing them onto the desk. Michael picked up the envelopes with shaking hands. There were more than 10, all addressed to him in handwriting he'd recognize anywhere. Some looked very old, others more recent. "How could you do this, Jennifer?" "I did what was necessary to protect our family. Read those letters and you'll understand." "Understand what?" "That your mother was trying to ruin our marriage from the start, that she never accepted me, that she wanted you to leave me." Michael opened the first letter with trembling hands. It was from 3 years ago. "My dear son Michael, I hope this letter reaches you. I know you're upset with me because of what I said about your marriage, but I need to ask for your forgiveness. You're a grown man who makes his own choices. I was wrong to interfere in your life. I just want you to be happy, son. If Jennifer makes you happy, then I accept her as my daughter-in-law. Please give me a chance to get to know her better. I miss you so much. Your loving mother, Rose." Tears streamed down Michael's face. Your mother had been asking for forgiveness and trying to make amends for 3 years, and he never knew. "Did you read this, Jennifer? Did you see what she was trying to say?" "I read every one of them, Michael, and I saw they were attempts at emotional manipulation." "Manipulation?" "Jennifer, she was asking for forgiveness. Today she asks for forgiveness. Tomorrow she'd be in our living room judging everything we do. Michael, you don't know your mother like I do." "How would you know? You barely spoke to her twice in your life." "I know the kind of person she is. Poor folks who get jealous when they see their children prosper, who want to drag their kids back down." Michael opened more letters, and in each one, he saw his mother's growing desperation, but always with warmth and apologies. In the second to last letter, she talked about the scam she'd fallen for and asked for help understanding the documents she'd signed. In the last letter, from just 6 months ago, she said she'd lost her house and was staying with a friend. but would find a solution soon. Jennifer, my mother lost everything. She asked for my help, and I didn't even know. And would you have helped? Would you have chosen her over me? Why would I have to choose? Why couldn't I help my mother and stay married to you? Because your mother would never accept me, Michael. And a marriage can't survive with outside interference. The only outside interference here is you intercepting her letters. Jennifer crossed her arms and looked at him coldly. I did what I had to do, and I'd do it again. How can you be so cold? How can you be so cruel to a 68-year-old woman who just wanted to talk to her own son? Because that 68-year-old woman tried to destroy my marriage from day one, because she looked at me like I was an intruder in her life, because she made it clear she'd never accept me as her daughter-in-law. Michael gathered all the letters and tucked them into his jacket pocket. I'm going to get my mother now, Jennifer. I'll bring her to stay with us until I can rent her an apartment. If you do that, Michael, our marriage ends today. Then let it end. Michael stormed out of the apartment, slamming the door, leaving Jennifer alone in the office. He drove back downtown, but when he reached the square where he'd left his mother, she was no longer there. He asked several people, but no one knew where she might be. He spent the rest of the night searching for her in shelters, under overpasses, in squares, and known spots where homeless people gathered. When he finally returned home at 2 in the morning, he was exhausted and desperate. Jennifer was in the living room, still awake, sipping a glass of wine. Couldn't find your mother, she asked, her tone a mix of sarcasm and false concern. Jennifer, please, help me find her. You may not like her, but she's an innocent person who's suffering. Michael, sit here with me. Let's talk like adults. He sat on the couch beside her, too tired to keep fighting. I know you're angry with me about the letters, Jennifer began, but you need to understand I did it because I love you. Love doesn't justify lies, Jennifer. It wasn't a lie, it was protection. It was, Michael, you don't know how hard it is to be judged all the time. Your mother never gave me a chance. From day one, she decided I wasn't good enough. But in the letters, she was trying to make amends. In the letters, she was trying to get back into your life. And if she did, Michael, our life would become hell. She'd interfere in everything. She'd have opinions on how we spend our money, where we live, how we decorate the house. You don't know that. Yes, I do. I know the type. My own mother had to deal with a mother-in-law like that. My father's mother almost destroyed my parents' marriage. Michael sighed, torn between the anger he felt toward his wife and the emotional exhaustion of the day. Jennifer, regardless of everything, my mother is out on the streets. She's hungry, cold, and in danger. I can't pretend this doesn't involve me. Fine. You want to help your mother? Let's help her. But not here in our home. We'll rent her a small apartment far from here. You can visit her, you can give her money, but our private life stays separate. You'd do that, you'd let me help her. As long as our life isn't affected, yes. Michael felt a momentary relief, but something in Jennifer's offer didn't sound sincere. It felt more like an attempt to control him than a genuine willingness to accept his mother into their lives. All right, let's do it that way. But first, I need to find her. The next morning, Michael left early again to search for his mother. This time he had better luck. He found her in a small church downtown where she had spent the night. She was helping a nun sort donated clothes when he arrived. Son, it's so good to see you again, she said, hugging him tightly. Mum, I talked to Jennifer yesterday. She agreed to let me rent an apartment for you. Son, I already told you I don't want to cause problems between you two. You won't cause any problems. We'll settle this today. Sister Margaret, the nun coordinating the church's work, approached them. Mrs. Rose, is this the son you always talk about? Yes, sister. My only son, Michael. Praise the Lord. Mrs. Rose speaks of you every day. She's so proud of the son she raised. Michael was moved to hear that. Even after all the suffering, his mother still spoke of him with pride. Sister, my mother will be taken care of from today onward. I'll look after her. May God bless your family, said the nun, making the sign of the cross. Michael spent the rest of the day searching for apartments to rent. He found a small but comfortable one in a nice part of the city, with a bedroom, living room, kitchen, and bathroom. Nothing luxurious, but clean and safe. Mum, what do you think? Son, this is much more than I need. Nothing is too much for you, Mum. They went to buy basic furniture, clothes, groceries, and cleaning supplies. Michael was determined to give his mother everything she needed to restart her life with dignity. Son, how am I going to pay for all this? You won't pay for anything, Mum. I'll cover all the expenses. But Michael, I can't accept charity, not even from my own son. It's not charity, Mum, it's duty and it's love. As they were finishing up in the apartment, Michael's phone rang. It was Jennifer. Hi, honey. How's everything going there? We're just finishing up with my mother's apartment. Great. What time are you coming home? We have that dinner at my parents' tonight. Michael had completely forgotten about the dinner. It was an important occasion. Jennifer was introducing him to some influential family friends. Jennifer, I don't know if I'll make it in time. What do you mean you won't make it? Michael, this dinner is really important for us. My dad is introducing you to his business partner who could bring new clients to your company. I know, but my mother... Your mother already has a home, food, and clothes. What else does she need today? Michael looked at his mother, who was arranging her new clothes in the small closet. She looked so happy, so grateful to have a place to call her own again. Jennifer, I'm staying here tonight. It's my mother's first day in her new home. Michael, are you kidding me? This meeting could mean a lot of money for us. And my mother means far more to me than money. Fine, Michael. Your choice. But don't complain later when you miss this business opportunity. Jennifer angrily hung up the phone. Michael sighed and went back to helping his mother organize the house. Son, was that your wife? Yes. Is she upset because you're here with me? Don't worry about that, Mom. Michael, I don't want my presence to cause problems in your marriage. Mum, what's causing problems in my marriage isn't you. It's the lies, the lack of compassion, the coldness. Mrs. Rose sat on the new bed and looked at her son with concern. Son, don't talk about your wife like that. Marriage is a serious thing. You can't throw it away because of me. Mom, you've already apologized for opposing my marriage. Now it's time for Jennifer to learn to accept me as I am with my family. And if she can't learn, then she's not the right person for me. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now continuing. Michael spent the night at his mother's apartment, sleeping on the small living room couch. In the morning, he went home to grab clean clothes before heading to work. Jennifer was still asleep when he arrived, or at least pretending to be. At the office, Michael tried to focus on work, but couldn't stop thinking about the situation at home. Jennifer had made it clear she wouldn't accept his mother's presence in their lives, and he was starting to realize he might never have married someone so different from his values. Around noon, his secretary informed him he had a visitor. To his surprise, it was Jennifer. "Hi, honey, I came to invite you to lunch," she said, entering the office with a smile that seemed forced. "Jennifer, I don't have much time today. Michael, we need to talk. We can't keep fighting like this." They went to a restaurant near the office. Jennifer waited until they'd ordered before starting the conversation. "Michael, I know you're upset with me, and I understand why." "You do?" "Yes. I went too far with the letters. I shouldn't have hidden them from you." "Then why did you?" "Because I was scared, Michael, scared of losing you. Scared your mother would convince you I wasn't good enough for you." "Jennifer, that doesn't make sense. If you're good for me, you'd have nothing to fear. But I come from a very different family than yours, Michael. I grew up knowing appearances matter, that social status matters. Your mother comes from a simpler world where those things don't hold value." "And what's wrong with that?" "The problem is different worlds can create conflict, and I didn't know how to handle it." Michael sighed. Jennifer seemed sincere, but he still couldn't forgive what she'd done. "Jennifer, my mother spent 2 years on the streets. 2 years suffering, going hungry, sleeping outside. Meanwhile, you were keeping her letters in a drawer." "I know, and I regret it. That's why I want to propose something." "What?" "Let's bring your mother to live with us." Michael nearly choked on his water. "What do you mean?" "Our apartment is big. We can turn the office into a suite for her. That way you can take care of her up close, and I can get to know her better. Jennifer, are you sure about this? Yes. I want a chance to make things right. I want to meet the woman who raised the man I love. Michael was moved by the offer, but also suspicious. Jennifer's change of heart was too sudden. Why did you change your mind so quickly? Because I realized I'd lose you if I didn't, and you mean more to me than any prejudice I might have. Jennifer, if we bring my mother to live with us, there can't be any discrimination or mistreatment. She needs to feel welcome. I promise, Michael, I'll do everything to make her feel at home. When Michael arrived at his mother's apartment that afternoon to tell her about Jennifer's proposal, he found Mrs. Rose cleaning the new house with a smile on her face. Mom, I need to talk to you about something. Go ahead, son. Jennifer wants you to come live with us. Mrs. Rose stopped cleaning and looked at him in surprise. What do you mean? She wants to get to know you better. She wants to make amends. She suggested turning one of the bedrooms into a suite for you. Son, are you sure she really said that? Absolutely. I had lunch with her today and she made the offer. And do you think it's a good idea? I think it's a chance for us to become a real family. Mrs. Rose sat in a chair and stayed silent for a few minutes. Son, do you really want me to live with you? I do, Mom. I want to take care of you every day. I want to make up for lost time. And what if it doesn't work out? It will, Mom. It has to. 2 hours later, Michael and Mrs. Rose were at the door of the luxurious apartment. Jennifer opened the door with a smile that seemed more genuine than the one she had that morning. Mrs. Rose, welcome to our home, she said, hugging her mother-in-law. Thank you, Jennifer. I hope I won't be a bother. Not at all. Come, let me show you your room. Jennifer led Mrs. Rose to what had once been her office, now quickly transformed into a simple but comfortable suite. There was a single bed, a small wardrobe, an armchair, and even a television. Wow, what a beautiful room, Mrs. Rose said, clearly moved. I hope you feel at home here, Jennifer replied. During dinner, Jennifer made sure to serve Mrs. Rose, ask about her food preferences, and share funny stories about Michael at work. Mrs. Rose seemed relaxed and happy. Jennifer, can I help with the dishes? Mrs. Rose offered after dinner. Absolutely not. You're our guest. But I like helping, I can't just sit around. Then starting tomorrow, you can help me in the kitchen. I want to learn your recipes. Michael watched the scene with a heart full of hope. Maybe Jennifer had really changed. Maybe they could become a real family. In the first few days, everything seemed to be working perfectly. Jennifer was attentive to Mrs. Rose, asking about her life and listening to her stories. Mrs. Rose in turn offered to help with cleaning and cooking, and began preparing some of the dishes Michael had loved as a child. Mum, it's been so long since I've had your chicken croquettes, Michael said one afternoon, biting into the snack Mrs. Rose had made. I remembered how much you loved them as a kid. I made them just for you. Mrs. Rose, could you teach me how to make them? Jennifer asked. Of course, dear. It would be my pleasure. Michael was at work when he got a call from Jennifer. She sounded upset. Michael, I need you to come home now. What happened? Is something wrong with my mom? Not exactly wrong, but I need to talk to you urgently. Jennifer, I can't leave work right now. I have an important meeting in an hour. Michael, please, it's about the pregnancy. What pregnancy? My pregnancy. Michael felt as if the world had stopped around him. Jennifer, you're pregnant. I am. I found out this morning. I took 3 different tests. My God. Jennifer, this is wonderful. It is, but we need to talk about a few things. Please come home. Michael cancelled all his afternoon meetings and rushed home. When he arrived, he found Jennifer sitting in the living room with a worried expression. Mrs. Rose wasn't there. Where's my mom? In her room. Michael, sit here with me. Jennifer, I'm so happy. We're having a baby. I'm happy too, love. But I'm also worried. Worried about what? About space, Michael. With the organization of the house, with our privacy. What do you mean? We'll need the room where your mother is staying. It's going to be the baby's room. Michael felt his stomach tighten. Jennifer, the house has 3 bedrooms. Our room, my mother's room, and another one we can turn into the baby's room. That other room is too small, Michael, and it's right next to ours. The baby will wake us up every night. Then we'll put the baby in the room farther from ours. The room where my mother is now. And where will your mother stay? Michael fell silent, starting to understand where Jennifer was going with this. Jennifer, my mother just got here. She's feeling at home for the first time in years. And I get that, Michael, but now we have other priorities. We're going to be parents. That doesn't mean we're abandoning my mother again. I'm not talking about abandoning her. I'm talking about her going back to the apartment you rented for her. Jennifer, you were the one who said you wanted to get to know her better, to make amends. And I did. She's a good person, Michael. But now we need to focus on our immediate family, on our baby. Michael got up from the couch and began pacing the room. I can't believe you're doing this, Jennifer. I can't believe you're using the pregnancy to kick my mother out. I'm not kicking anyone out. I'm being practical. I'm thinking about what's best for our family. My mother is our family, Jennifer. No, Michael, your mother is your family. Our family is me, you, and our baby on the way. Just then, Mrs. Rose appeared in the room. It was clear she had heard the argument. Son, don't fight because of me, she said, her voice trembling. Mom, you're not leaving. Michael, I understand Jennifer's position. You're going to be parents now. You need the space, the privacy. No, Mom, I won't let you be pushed out again. Son, I'm not being pushed out. I understand it's time for you two to have the house to yourselves. Jennifer approached Mrs. Rose with a smile Michael now realized was fake. Mrs. Rose, you understand, right? It's just a matter of space. You have that lovely apartment Michael rented for you. I do understand, dear, and I want to thank you for these days here. It was so nice to spend time with you both. Mom, you're not leaving, Michael repeated more firmly. Son, I am, and it's okay. You gave me an apartment, you're taking care of all my expenses. I'm much better off than I was 2 weeks ago. But I want you here, close to me. And I will be close, son. You can visit me whenever you want. I can come for Sunday lunches. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. Michael looked at Jennifer and saw the barely disguised triumph on her face. He was starting to realize that the whole story about wanting to get to know her mother-in-law better had been an act. Jennifer, talk to me in the kitchen, he said, trying to control his anger. In the kitchen, Michael closed the door and faced his wife. You planned this from the start, didn't you? Planned what? Pretending you were interested in getting to know my mother, bringing her here just so you could kick her out later using the pregnancy as an excuse. Michael, you're being paranoid. Am I? Jennifer, look me in the eye and tell me you didn't know you were pregnant when you suggested bringing my mother here. Jennifer looked away, and that was all Michael needed to understand. You already knew you were pregnant. Michael, you knew and you still brought my mother here. Why? To humiliate her, to make her feel good and then take it all away again? That's not it. Then what was it? It was an attempt to show you that I was right from the beginning, that your mother's presence would complicate our lives. How so? In the past few days, you've spent more time talking to your mother than with me. You'd come home from work and go straight to her. At dinner, you'd reminisce about old stories, and I felt left out. Jennifer, that's ridiculous. I was trying to make up for lost time with my mum. And where did I fit into that? Where did our relationship fit? Our relationship doesn't have to suffer just because I have a good relationship with my mother. Yes, it does, Michael, because you only have enough emotional energy for one family, and you have to choose. Either it's the family you built with me, or the one you had before we met. Michael stared at Jennifer as if he were seeing a stranger. How had he married someone so different from his values? How had it taken him so long to realize who she really was? Jennifer, I won't choose between you and my mother. Both can coexist in my life. No, they can't, Michael. And you know it. Your mother never truly accepted me. She was polite because she was grateful you got her off the streets. But deep down, she still thinks you deserve someone better. And maybe she's right. The words left Michael's mouth before he could think them through. Jennifer turned pale. What did you say? Maybe my mother is right. Maybe I do deserve someone better. Someone who doesn't hide letters, who doesn't lie, who doesn't kick a 68-year-old woman out of the house out of jealousy. Michael, you're speaking out of anger. That's not what you really think. I'm speaking out of clarity, Jennifer. For the first time in years, I'm seeing who you really are. And who am I? A selfish, calculating, and cruel person. Someone who can fake affection for an old lady just to humiliate her later. I didn't humiliate your mother. I offered a rational explanation for a necessary change. You destroyed her dream of having a family again. Her dream or yours? Michael fell silent. Jennifer had hit the mark. It was him who had dreamed of a united family, where his wife and mother could live in harmony. Both, he admitted. It was both our dream. And now you'll have to accept reality. Some people aren't meant to live together. Or some people just don't want to. Michael walked back to the living room and found Mrs. Rose packing her few belongings into a bag. "Mom, what are you doing?" "Getting my things ready to go back to the apartment. You don't have to leave today." "Yes, I do, son. The sooner I leave, the sooner you two can prepare for the baby's arrival." "Mom, I don't agree with this." "Son, listen to your mother. Jennifer is pregnant. She needs peace, space, your full attention. With me here, you'll be torn between us." "And what's wrong with that?" "The problem is that your marriage has to come first. You can't be a good husband and father if you're worried about me." "Yes, I can, Mom." "No, you can't, son. And I don't want to be responsible for problems in your marriage. I already caused enough trouble 5 years ago." Michael helped his mother carry her bags to the car, feeling as if he were betraying her all over again. Most of the drive to the apartment passed in silence. "Mom, I'll visit you every day." "You don't have to, son. You have your responsibilities. You are my responsibility. Now your biggest responsibility is to Jennifer and the baby on the way." "Why are you talking like I have to choose between you?" "Because sometimes life is like that, son. Sometimes we have to make hard choices." "What if I choose you?" Mrs. Rose looked at him with deep sadness. "Son, if you choose me over your wife and child, I'll never forgive you." "What do you mean?" "A mother is forever, Michael. A wife and a child, too. But a mother is the one who must know how to give space for her child to build their own family. If I let you choose me, I'm being selfish." "Mom, you're not being selfish. You're being selfless. Again. It's a mother's role, son, to make sacrifices for her children." When they arrived at the apartment, Michael helped his mother unload their things and stayed for dinner with her. Mrs. Rose prepared a simple but delicious meal. "Son, now tell me, are you truly happy about the pregnancy news?" "I'm confused, Mom. I should be happy, but I can't be after everything that happened today." "Happiness will come, son. When you hold your baby for the first time, all this confusion will fade." "And you, Mom, are you happy about being a grandmother?" "Very happy. I can't wait to meet my grandchild." "Will Jennifer let you see the baby?" "Of course she will. She's not a bad person, Michael. She's just scared." "Scared of what?" "Scared of sharing you. Scared that you'll love me more than her. Scared the baby will love me more than her." "That's ridiculous. To you, it's ridiculous. To her, it's very real. Jennifer grew up in a world where people compete for love, for attention, for resources. She doesn't know that love isn't a pie that will run out if we slice it too many ways. How can you defend her after everything she's done?" "Because I was young and insecure once too. Because I understand what it's like to fear losing someone you love. But you never did what she did." "I did worse, son." "What do you mean?" "I tried to stop your wedding. Said horrible things about Jennifer without even knowing her well. I forced you to choose between us. Mom, you were trying to protect me. And she's trying to protect her family too. The difference is, now I'm older and understand things better." Michael was amazed by his mother's wisdom and generosity. Even after being rejected, humiliated, and kicked out of the house twice, she could still feel compassion for Jennifer. "Mom, what do you think I should do?" "Go home, talk to your wife, and work things out between you. This baby needs to be born into a united family. And you?" "I'll be here. I'll always be here for you, son. But right now, you need to focus on your pregnant wife." Michael returned home with a heavy heart. Jennifer was watching TV in the living room when he arrived. "So, did your mom settle in okay at the apartment?" she asked, not taking her eyes off the screen. She did, but I didn't. Michael, let's not fight again. It was the best decision for everyone. It was the best decision for you, Jennifer. For us, for our family. Our family included my mother. Michael, sit here with me. Let's talk about our baby, about our plans. But Michael wasn't in the mood to talk about plans. He felt manipulated, deceived, used. He went to the bathroom to shower and think. Under the water, he reflected on everything that had happened in the past few days. Jennifer had lied about the letters for 3 years. She had pretended to accept his mother only to kick her out later, using the pregnancy as an excuse. And worst of all, she seemed unable to understand why it was wrong. When he got out of the shower, he found Jennifer already in bed. Michael, come here. I want to talk about baby names. Jennifer, I'm not in the right headspace for this. Then let's talk about what's bothering you. Let's settle this once and for all. What's bothering me is that I've realized I'm married to someone I don't know. What do you mean? The Jennifer I knew and married would never hide letters from a desperate mother. She would never kick an elderly woman out of the house out of jealousy. I didn't kick her out because of jealousy. I did it out of necessity. Jennifer, stop lying, stop making excuses. Admit that you did all this because you're jealous of my mother. Fine, I am jealous. I admit it. I'm jealous because you look at her with a love I've never seen you have for me. Michael was surprised by Jennifer's honesty. What do you mean? When you look at your mother, Michael, your eyes light up. When you talk about her, your voice gets sweeter. When you're with her, you smile in a way I've never seen you smile with me. Jennifer, it's a different kind of love. It's a son's love. And I want you to love me like that too. But you're not my mother. You're my wife. They're different kinds of love. Are they? Because sometimes I feel like you love me out of obligation because you married me. But your mother, you love her by choice. Michael fell silent, processing Jennifer's words. There was a painful truth in them. Jennifer, I love you. I married you because I love you. But do you love me more or your mother more? That question doesn't make sense. Yes, it does. And you can't answer it because you know the answer. Jennifer, love isn't a competition. For you, it isn't. For me, it always has been. I grew up fighting for attention, for affection, for resources. And now I'm fighting for my husband against my mother-in-law. You don't have to fight for anything. Yes, I do, because if I don't fight, I lose. Michael lay down on the bed next to Jennifer, emotionally exhausted. Jennifer, what do you want from me? I want you to love me the way you love your mother. I want to be your priority. I want you to come talk to me first when you get home, not her. What if I told you I could do that without kicking my mother out of the house? I don't believe you can. Why not? Because your mother is so charismatic, so affectionate. She knows how to win people over. And you're vulnerable to that. Jennifer, she's my mother. It's natural for me to be vulnerable to her affection. And it's natural for me to be jealous of that. They stayed silent for a few minutes. Michael was starting to realize the problem wasn't just Jennifer. Maybe he really did struggle to balance the two relationships. Jennifer, I'll make a deal with you. What kind of deal? I'll prove to you that I can love both of you without one hurting the other. How? I'll set clear boundaries. I'll divide my time so you feel prioritized, but without abandoning my mother. And if it doesn't work? If it doesn't work, we'll rethink the situation. And if it does work? If it does work, you accept my mother in our lives. Truly. Forever. Jennifer stayed silent for a long time, considering the offer. How long do you want to prove this? Until the baby is born, 9 months. And what would the boundaries be? I'll visit my mother 3 times a week, always in the afternoon. On weekends, she can come for lunch with us every other Sunday. And for all special occasions, birthdays, Christmas, New Year's, she's included. What about her room? It becomes the baby's room. My mother stays in her own apartment. And if during these 9 months I feel like you're neglecting me because of her, then you tell me, and we'll adjust. Jennifer took a deep breath before answering. Okay, I accept the deal. The next day, Michael went to visit his mother and tell her about the agreement. She was in the kitchen making soup when he arrived. "Mom, I talked to Jennifer yesterday. We made a deal." "What kind of deal?" Michael explained the terms they'd agreed on. Mrs. Rose listened quietly, stirring the soup slowly. "And you think it'll work?" she asked finally. "I have to try, Mom. It's the only way to keep both of you in my life." "Son, just the fact that you're trying makes me happy. The outcome doesn't matter." "It does matter. It'll work, Mom. It has to." "And if it doesn't?" "It will." "Michael, look at me. If it doesn't work, if you have to choose your wife and your child. Promise me." "Mom, promise." "I won't promise that because it won't be necessary." In the first few months, the arrangement seemed to work well. Michael visited his mother on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturday afternoons. Mrs. Rose came over for lunch every other Sunday. Jennifer made an effort to be polite, and Mrs. Rose responded with genuine warmth. Jennifer's pregnancy was progressing smoothly. She was more sensitive, more affectionate, and seemed to be genuinely trying to accept Mrs. Rose's presence in their lives. During their Sunday lunches, the two even chatted about recipes and baby care tips. "Mrs. Rose, do you have any name suggestions for the baby?" Jennifer asked one Sunday. "Oh dear, that's for the parents to decide. I'll love whatever name you choose. But don't you have any preference?" "If it's a boy, I think Ethan is a lovely name. If it's a girl, Emma." "Ethan. I like that," said Michael. "What about you, Jennifer?" "Ethan is a beautiful name." Michael was moved to see his mother-in-law and wife discussing his future grandchild. Maybe the arrangement really could work. But by the 5th month of pregnancy, things began to get complicated. Jennifer grew increasingly sensitive and needy. She started complaining that Michael spent too much time at his mother's apartment. "Michael, you promised the visits would be quick. Yesterday you stayed there for 3 hours. Jennifer, my mother wasn't feeling well. I couldn't leave her alone. And what about me? I'm pregnant with your child, and you leave me alone here." "You weren't alone. Your mother was here with you." "It's not the same. I want my husband with me." "Jennifer, I'm trying to balance things. You're not balancing anything. You're prioritizing your mother again." The arguments became more frequent. Jennifer began nitpicking small details. The fact that Mrs. Rose brought homemade food when she came for lunch, the way she rearranged things in the kitchen, the stories she told about Michael's childhood. "Michael, your mother is trying to take over our home," Jennifer complained after one Sunday lunch. "What do you mean?" "She keeps giving me advice on how to eat during pregnancy, talking about how it was when you were a baby, organizing the kitchen her way." "Jennifer, she's just trying to help. She's trying to prove she knows you better than I do, that she knows how to run a home better than I do. That's just paranoia." "Oh, really? Then why was she the first person you consulted when picking out the baby's layette? Because she has experience with babies. And I don't, and my mother doesn't." Michael realized he was on dangerous ground. "Jennifer, I can consult multiple people. It's not exclusive. But you consulted her first. That shows where your priorities lie." The 6th month of pregnancy brought a new complication. Jennifer had some false contractions and was hospitalized for observation. Michael canceled his visit to his mother to stay with his wife. "Son, how is Jennifer?" Mrs. Rose asked when he called to say he wouldn't be visiting. "She's fine, Mom. Just a scare. But I'm staying at the hospital with her." "Of course, son. A husband's place is by his wife's side." "Mom, I'm sorry to cancel the visit." "Son, don't apologize. Jennifer and the baby are the priority now." But when Michael arrived at the hospital, Jennifer didn't seem to appreciate his gesture. "You took your time getting here," were her first words. "Jennifer, I came as soon as I heard. I was at the office." "You weren't at the office. You were on your way to your mother's house. How do you know?" "Because it was Thursday, your sacred visiting day." "Jennifer, I cancelled the visit to be here with you, only because you had to. If I hadn't been hospitalized, you'd have gone there even though I wasn't feeling well. You weren't feeling unwell when I left the house, but I could have been. And you didn't ask how I was before leaving." Michael realized there was nothing he could say to calm Jennifer. She was determined to pick a fight. "Jennifer, I'm here now. That's what matters." "It matters that you had to choose, Michael. and you chose your mother first. That's not true. Yes, it is. If I hadn't been hospitalized, you'd be there right now eating her little croquettes and forgetting about me here at home. That night, as Jennifer slept in the hospital, Michael reflected on the situation. Maybe Jennifer was right. Maybe he really did struggle to balance the two relationships. Maybe it was impossible to love a mother and a wife at the same time, without one feeling neglected. The next day, Jennifer was discharged, but the tension between them lingered. She started imposing stricter rules on Michael's visits to his mother. "Michael, if you're going to visit your mother today, I want you back by 7. "Why? We don't have any plans tonight. "Because I'm pregnant, and I need my husband at home." "Jennifer, you spent the whole day watching TV. We didn't even talk." "Yes, we did. I tried to talk and you just zoned out thinking about your mother." "I wasn't thinking about my mother." "Yes, you were. You get that dreamy look whenever you're thinking about her." The accusations were getting more absurd, but Michael decided to give in to avoid bigger conflicts. He started limiting his visits to his mother to 2 hours a day. "Son, you've changed," Mrs. Rose said during one of these short visits. "You're always checking the time, always in a hurry." "I'm trying to balance things, Mom." "And how's that going?" "Complicated." "Son, if it's too hard, maybe you should space out your visits more." "No, Mom. Our agreement stands until the baby's born. There are still 3 months left. And after the baby's born, then we'll renegotiate." But in the 7th month, something happened that changed everything. Jennifer fainted at home while alone and was helped by a neighbor. When Michael arrived at the hospital, she was fine but badly shaken. "Michael, I thought I was going to lose the baby," she said, crying. "But you didn't. Everything's okay now." "It's okay because the neighbor helped me. What if she hadn't been home?" "Jennifer, it was just an accident. Common discomfort during pregnancy." "It was more than that, Michael. It was a warning. I'm too alone." "What do you mean alone? I'm always here." "No, you're not. You're physically here, but your mind is always on your mother." Michael sighed. He was tired of having the same argument. "Jennifer, what do you want me to do?" "I want you to choose, Michael, once and for all. Either me and our child or your mother." "Jennifer, I won't choose. I've said it 1,000 times. "Then I'll choose for you." "What do you mean?" "I'm spending the last 2 months of the pregnancy at my parents' house." Michael was stunned. "Jennifer, you can't do this." "Yes, I can and I will. I'm only coming back when you make a final decision." "What decision?" "Cut ties with your mother or separate from me." "Jennifer, this is blackmail." "It's an ultimatum, and you have 2 weeks to decide." Jennifer packed her bags and left for her parents' house. Michael tried talking to her several times, but she remained firm. He had to choose. "Son, what's going on?" Mrs. Rose asked when Michael showed up at her apartment earlier than usual. "Jennifer gave me an ultimatum, Mom. Either I cut ties with you or she leaves me." Mrs. Rose was silent for a long time. "And what are you going to do?" "I don't know, Mom. I'm completely lost." "Son, can I give you some advice?" "Of course. Choose your wife." Michael looked at his mother in surprise. "What do you mean?" "Choose Jennifer and the baby, son. It's the right thing to do." "Mom, I can't abandon you again." "You won't be abandoning me. You'll be making the right choice." "How can you say that?" "Because a real mother wants her child's happiness above all else, and your happiness is with your new family, not the old one." "My happiness is with both of you." "No, son. No one can be happy split in half. You need to choose where to focus your energy, your love, your dedication." "What if I choose you?" "Then you'll destroy 2 lives, yours and Jennifer's. And you'll rob your child of having a present father." "Mom, I don't want to lose you." "You won't lose me, son. I'll always be here, just not as the priority in your life. As someone you visit now and then, call on birthdays, include in some special occasions." "That's not enough for me." "But it's enough for me, son. It always has been." Michael spent the 2 hardest weeks of his life. He constantly thought about the decision he had to make. He talked to friends, but everyone had different opinions. Some said he should choose his wife, others that he should put Jennifer in her place. On the last day of the deadline, Michael went to see his mother one final time. "Have you decided, son?" "I have." "And what's your choice?" "I'm choosing Jennifer." Mrs. Rose smiled, her eyes filled with tears. "You made the right choice, son." "It doesn't feel right, Mom." "It feels that way because you're looking with your heart, but it's right in your head. You'll see it's right when you hold your son in your arms." "What about you? How will you be?" "I'll be fine, son. I've always been fine. I'm stronger than you think." "Can I visit you sometimes?" "Of course, son. But only when Jennifer feels secure, when she knows you've chosen her." "How long might that take?" "Maybe a few months, maybe a few years, maybe forever." "Mom, come here, son." Mrs. Rose opened her arms and Michael stepped into them. She hugged him like she did when he was a child. "Thank you for giving me these wonderful months, son. Thank you for taking me off the streets, for giving me a home, for showing me you still love me." "I'll always love you, Mom. And I'll always love you too, no matter what happens." When Michael left his mother's apartment that afternoon, he knew he was doing the right thing, but his heart was shattered. He went straight to Jennifer's parents' house. "I choose you," he said when Jennifer answered the door. "Are you sure?" "Absolutely." "And your mother?" "She'll live her life. I'll still cover her expenses, but our relationship will be very limited." "For how long?" "As long as it takes for you to feel safe." Jennifer hugged him tightly, and for the first time in months, Michael felt her fully relax. "Thank you for choosing me," she whispered in his ear. "Thank you for waiting." Ethan was born in January on a sunny summer day in New York City. Michael was awestruck when he held his son for the first time. Jennifer was right. All the chaos of the past month seemed irrelevant in the face of that perfect little child. "He's beautiful," Michael said, tears in his eyes. "He looks just like you," Jennifer replied. "Do you think we can call my mom, just to let her know her grandson was born?" Jennifer hesitated for a moment, but then agreed. "Go ahead, but tell her we still don't know when she can meet him." Michael called Mrs. Rose from the hospital. "Mom, Ethan was born." "Oh, son, how is he? And Jennifer?" "Everyone's fine. He weighed 7 pounds." "What joy, son. I'm a grandmother." "Yeah, Mom, you're a grandmother. When can I meet my grandson?" "We don't know yet, Mom. Jennifer needs to recover. We need to settle in." "Of course, son. I understand completely. When the time is right, you'll let me know." "Mom?" "Yes, son. Thank you for everything. To understand, to accept, to love me enough to let me go." "Always, son, always." The first few months with Ethan were intense and wonderful. Michael discovered a happiness he never knew existed. Jennifer was more affectionate and calm than ever. The family was working perfectly. But around Ethan's 6th month, Michael began to miss his mother. He wanted to share with her the joy of watching his grandson grow, to show her his first words, his first steps. "Jennifer, I think it's time to introduce Ethan to my mom." "You think so?" "I do. She's his grandmother. She has the right to know her grandson." Jennifer stayed silent for a few minutes. "Okay, but I want to get to know this new dynamic better before allowing regular visits." "Of course, we'll take it slow." The next day, Michael called his mother. "Mom, want to meet your grandson?" "I do, son. More than anything in the world." "Then we'll come over this afternoon, but it's just a quick visit." "Of course, son, any time you can give me is a blessing." When they arrived at Mrs. Rose's apartment with Ethan in their arms, she was so emotional she couldn't speak for a few minutes. "My God, what a beautiful baby," she finally said, her voice trembling. "Do you want to hold him?" Michael offered. "May I?" "Of course." Mrs. Rose took Ethan into her arms with the care of someone who had held many babies before. Ethan, who had been fussy, immediately calmed in his grandmother's embrace. "Look at that. He likes you," said Jennifer, seeming genuinely surprised. "Babies sense when someone loves them," Mrs. Rose said, gently rocking Ethan. "Would you like to feed him?" Jennifer offered. "May I?" "Of course." Michael watched the scene with emotion, his mother feeding his son, while Jennifer looked on with a smile. It was exactly the image he had dreamed of all those months. Ethan is such a calm baby, Mrs. Rose remarked. During the day, yes. At night he gets fussier, said Jennifer. That's normal. Babies mix up day and night at first. It usually gets better around 3 months. He's already past 6 months and still wakes up a lot at night. Oh, that could be teething. Or maybe he's feeling some discomfort. How so? Sometimes the baby is too cold or too hot, or the diaper is bothering him. Sometimes it's just needing comfort. Jennifer seemed interested in her mother-in-law's advice, and they spent nearly an hour talking about baby care. Michael was happy to see the two of them getting along. Jennifer, I think we can come back more often, he said in the car on the way home. She really knows babies, Jennifer admitted. And Ethan liked her. Does that mean we can set up regular visits? Let's see how Ethan reacts. If he stays calm with her, then yes. In the following weeks, they visited Mrs. Rose 3 times. Ethan always stayed calm in his grandmother's arms, and Jennifer was starting to appreciate her mother-in-law's tips and experience. Mrs. Rose, do you know why Ethan cries so much during baths? Jennifer asked during one visit. It could be the water's too hot or too cold, or maybe he's scared. Some babies get frightened by the feeling of the water. What should I do? Try adjusting the water temperature a little and talk to him during the bath. Sing a little song, tell a story. What matters is he feels safe. Could you teach me some songs you sang to Michael when he was a baby? Of course, dear. It'd be my pleasure. Michael was moved to see his mother and wife growing closer. Maybe finally, they could be a complete family. It was during one of these visits that something unexpected happened. Ethan was in Mrs. Rose's arms when he started crying uncontrollably. Jennifer tried to soothe him. Michael tried, but nothing worked. Mrs. Rose took him back into her arms and began humming a soft tune. Ethan calmed down instantly. How did you do that? Jennifer asked, amazed. I don't know, dear. I guess it's just experience. Mrs. Rose, can I ask you something a little strange? Of course. Would you like to watch Ethan for a few hours every week, so I can get some rest? Michael nearly choked on his coffee. Jennifer was offering to let his mother take care of their baby. Jennifer, it would be an honor, Mrs. Rose said, moved. So how about we start with 2 afternoons a week? That would be perfect. When they left Mrs. Rose's apartment that afternoon, Michael was overjoyed. Jennifer, I can't believe you asked my mom to watch Ethan. She's good with him, Michael, and I need some time for myself now and then. Does this mean you finally accepted her into our lives? It means I'm trying, really trying this time. What changed? Ethan changed everything. He likes her. He calms down with her. And I saw how happy she is taking care of him, how much love she has to give. And you? You're not jealous anymore. Less so, because now I know you chose me, that your priority is me and Ethan. Little by little, Mrs. Rose became a constant presence in their lives again. She watched Ethan 2 afternoons a week, came over for Sunday lunches, and joined them for special occasions. Ethan grew up surrounded by his grandmother's love. She taught him old nursery rhymes, told him stories, and made the same little dishes she had once prepared for Michael as a child. Grandma, tell the story about the boy who planted beans, Ethan would ask when he turned 2. Again, sweetheart, you already know this story by heart, but I like it when you tell it. Michael watched the interactions between his mother and son with a heart full of gratitude. His family was complete now. One Sunday afternoon, when Ethan was 3, Jennifer made an announcement that surprised everyone. I have some news for you. What news? Michael asked. I'm pregnant again. Really? Michael shouted, scooping her into his arms. Am I going to have another grandbaby? Mrs. Rose asked, teary-eyed. Yes, you are. And this time I want you there from the beginning. I want your advice, your experience, your love. Jennifer, Mrs. Rose said, her eyes welling up. I also want to apologize for being so difficult with you, for taking so long to understand that family is something we build together, not against each other. You don't have to apologize, dear. What matters is that we're here now. But I do. You missed precious years with Ethan because of me. I don't want that to happen with this baby. 6 months later, Emma was born. This time, Mrs. Rose was in the hospital waiting room when her granddaughter came into the world. She was one of the first to hold her. "She looks just like Jennifer when she was a baby," Mrs. Rose said. "You knew Jennifer as a baby?" Michael asked. "No, son. But I'm sure she was just like this, beautiful, delicate, and with that little princess charm." Jennifer laughed, touched. Her mother-in-law had found a way to compliment her while making her feel included. In the years that followed, the family grew even closer. Mrs. Rose helped with the kids, Jennifer learned family recipes, and Michael finally found a way to love the two most important women in his life without feeling like he was betraying either. When Ethan turned 5, he asked a question that touched everyone's hearts. "Daddy, why doesn't Grandma live here with us?" "Because she has her own little house, son." "But her house is small, ours is big, and Grandma gets sad when she leaves." Michael looked at Jennifer, who smiled and nodded. "Ethan, how about we invite Grandma to live here?" "Really? Can Grandma stay with us forever?" "If she wants to, yes." "Grandma, do you want to live here?" asked Ethan, running into Mrs. Rose's arms. "I do, my love, more than anything." And so, after a long and painful journey, filled with mistakes, forgiveness, and lessons, the family was finally whole again. 3 generations living under one roof, each contributing their love, experience, and wisdom to create a truly happy home. The end. Now tell me what you thought of this story and where you're watching from. If you have anything to share with us, leave your heartfelt thoughts in the comments. Do you believe Michael made the right decision in the end? We'd love to hear your opinion. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to like the video and, most importantly, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss other heartwarming stories.